cell phones, but today I have to ask all of you to mute yourself and you'll catch up later. We'll begin by bringing out the casket, putting it on top of her resting place, and then we'll start with the service.
Yeah, so it fell off while he was down there.
All right, we're going to begin the service for Jean Gold. And we start off the service with several Psalms from the book of Psalms. Start off with Psalm number 1. I'll say it in Hebrew. Ashrei ish asher lo yhalach b'atzas rishoyim v'derech hatovim lo yomad v'moshev leitzim lo yashav. Ki im b'seres adonai cheftzoi v'shirosoi yehegi yom v'loila. V'hoya ke'eit shosol al pal gemoyim asher piri yitoin v'aleu lo yiva v'chol asher yaseh yatzliach. Lo yichein rishoyim kim kamois asher defend ruach al kein lekom rishoyim v'mishvat hatovim b'das tzadikim ki yedei adonai derech tzadikim v'derech rishoyim tovet. And I don't see anyone asking any questions. I'm assuming everybody understood that. So we'll go to Psalm 15. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai mi yago b'alecha, o mi yishkem b'hakachecha. Hoylech tamim u'fayel tzedek, v'dover emes b'vavai, lo yrogal al shoynoi, lo yasal re'eu ra v'cherpel l'nas al kroivai. Nivzu bein of nimas v'sir Adonai yechabit nishma lo herde lo yomer kasper l'nasam b'neshech, v'sheichat al noki lo lokach, oise eile lo yimet olam. A song of David. Lord, who may sojourn in your tent? Who may dwell in your holy mountains? One who walks in purity, does what is righteous, and speaks the truth from his heart, who has no slander on his tongue, nor has done harm to fellow, nor cast disgrace towards the neighbor, in whose eyes a contemptible person is repulsive, but who honors those who are in awe of the Lord, who swears truthfully even to personal hurt, and never retracts, who does not lend money on interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. One who does these things shall never falter. And Psalm 23, Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo yechsor b'nois desha yarbitzeni amay menuchas yana'aleni, nafshi yeshev yanchenu magritzedek l'man shemoi. Gam ki elech b'gein salmovis lo yiro ro ki atoi modi, shiftecha mishantecha hema yanachmuni, harech l'panei shulchan neged shoyroi, Nishanta b'Hashem eroishi koiser ravoya, achtoi v'chesed yirafuni kol yimei chayei, v'shavti beis Adonai l'orech yomim. A song of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. God caused me to lie down in lush pastures. God leads me beside tranquil water. God restores my soul and guides me in a righteous path for God's name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your scepter and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in full view of my adversaries. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. And traditionally, when we do a funeral for a special woman, we recite the last chapter of the book of Proverbs, which is a song that some people sing Friday night before making Kiddush, before we sanctify the day, known as Eshes Chayil, the woman of valor. Eshes Chayil meyimtza v'rochak mipnei michra, b'tachbolei valor v'shololei yachsor. G'mlasu tov lo'irokli mechayeho, dashet semeru fishtem v'tas v'chefetz kapeho. Hoyse keni yoseicher mechak tov v'lachmo, v'atokom bo edlayla v'atitin terv levesa v'choyklan arizeho. Zoma sadevak yecheyu mipri chapel not nechorem. Chorgabois masnel v'tamid zroyesel. Talmakito yisachar lo yichvalei nero. Yedei Shuchal Bakisha v'Kapel Tom Kofolach Kapos Liani Yedei Shuchal Evyon Le'Silo Vesim Yishalek Yichavetz Lavu Shanim Marvad L'Masa Solallah Sheish V'Gom L'Vusha Noidu V'Asherim Bailu V'Shiftim Zikin Yoretz Sod Nosa V'Tim K'V'Chaganos L'Aknani Oiz V'Hod L'Vusha V'Tisak V'Yimacharein Pia Pascha B'Chachmas Ha'Schesha L'Shoinoi Sefil Yichas Beisav Lechem Asos L'Yisaychel Chomu V'Nav Yashua Bala V'Hallo Havi Kruz L'Sachar V'Atavus Al-Kulona Sheker HaChein Behevel Ayofi Isha Yiras Adonai Hit Salol Shnula Mipri Adel V'Yalua V'Shar Masel. Today we're blessed to have a grandson that came, and he's going to share with us some memories and share with us about his grandmother. But for all of us, we take the verse that tells us that it's better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of festivity. In Ecclesiastes, it tells us, Tov leleches lebeis avel meleches lebeis mishta, better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of festivities. And the reason is given in the end of the verse, because v'hachayit in aliboy. The live people are going to take it to heart. They're going to try to take a lesson. So the purpose today for all of us is, first of all, we hope the grandchildren will share with us the secret of living a very long and good life. This is something, that's why everybody came in the cold, to hear that. But as well, to hear some great stories of her or some values, and we all will try to take it upon ourselves in some way, in some shape, to be able to follow in her ways, and this will help her soul get higher and higher, to elevate itself. As well as we want to thank the family who came out, and the boys from Yeshiva High School, and several volunteers who came out to make sure that we have a minyan. And thank you for Berkowitz-Kumin for all you do for everybody. Just to mention a little bit about Jean, and maybe I'm going to share something that somebody in the family didn't know. She was born in Ukraine in 1918. She's older than me. She's 102 years old. Her Hebrew name is Shana Bela. Her father was Benjamin, and her mother was Rebecca. She had a sister Yetta and Edith, a brother Hyman and Frederick. She's the beloved aunt of Larry, Warren, Rick, Lane, Stacy, Jerry, Eddie, Sylvia, and Ronald. In her profession, she was an RN. She graduated at the New York Metropolitan School of Nursing. She's the head nurse of pediatric at Mount Sinai, a Urin Road Hospital in Cleveland, before your days. Operated a successful household liquidating business with her late husband, Harry, for many years. Her hobbies included music, art, cooking, and travel. She enjoyed teaching Hebrew as a young lady and was fluent in Yiddish. We had something in common. Had to flee Ukraine in the early 1920s because of the pogroms against the Jews. Before entering the United States, the family settled in Cuba, where she lost her brother Frederick in a tragic fire accident. She was married to Harry Gold for more than 32 years, filled with much joy and happiness. Harry owned a successful sign business and concertmaster of the Suburban Orchestra. Jean and Harry enjoyed simple things in life, which brings me to some words of wisdom she shared with her son Paul and her oldest son William, who is laying right next to her, having passed just 7 months ago. And this is a quote from her. What's the secret of living more than 100 years? Always push negative thoughts out of your head. Try very hard to do the right thing and be kind to people. Be a kind person. Life is made up of good and bad moments. We hope and pray that there are more good than bad. I have led a long life and accomplished everything that I set out to do when I left Cleveland. As a young lady to go to nursing school in New York, I have lived long enough to raise 2 sons. Paul and William, been very fortunate to have 4 grandchildren, Brian, Heather, Michael, and Karen. And 7 great-grandchildren, Charlie, Elaine, Hannah, Joy, Tova, Emma, and Minnow. Even though I have lived for more than 100 years, you know the old saying, life is short. 102 years does not even feel that long. Be happy, my children. She was a wonderful woman, is what I've seen from Paul. Beautiful inside and outside. She never raised her voice. Always had a tasty meal ready for her family, and was most famous for her Russian tea biscuits. And no, she did not buy it at Mark's, so don't go there. Her only rule in the house was, don't eat on the sofa. Jean projected a very powerful and wise persona. We would always refer to her as the Tsar of the Russians. Everybody that met Jean was enriched, not only of the moment, but for a lifetime. What I want to mention to everybody who's here and those of you who are on Zoom, that life is very funny. Not as funny as some people think it is, but if we have to stop and think, why were we born? We have a mission in life, but we're not told a mission. And God wants us to do the right things, but then again, He doesn't always help us to do the right things. We have obstacles that come in our way. I'd like to share with you a thought, and perhaps that could make it a little more sense and give us something to think about, as well as trying to do something in her memory. The way we look at life, the way we look at things that have a value, is the less that it's been abused, the less that it's been touched, it's worth more. If you want to make sure that something is going to stay in perfect condition, try not to use it often. If you want your car to shine, keep it in the garage, wash it, and don't take it out on a daily ride. When God created a human being, when God created Adam and Eve, it says that God blew into them a breath of life. The same word that we use for breath is the word that we use for a soul, neshama. It says, "Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim." So every person is a combination. We have a physical body, but we have a spiritual aspect in us, which is called a soul. The soul is better off not being born. The soul cannot make any mistakes. It's just like an angel that has no reason to make mistakes. There's nothing trying to influence the soul to make mistakes. And therefore, if God wanted souls to remain perfect, there's no reason to be born. But there's an accomplishment that we could accomplish when a soul is put into a human being. Although there's going to be trials and tribulations, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be some issues that we have to, and not always are we going to do the right thing, but we have a way to retract what we did by asking forgiveness, asking for an atonement, and trying to take upon ourselves to do the right thing. So although if you would have a new car, a new engine that you never used, and once you use it, it loses its value, a soul becomes greater. Something that came down in this world as 100%, when it's returned to its maker, it's returned way greater, better than it could ever have been if it would have just stayed up in heaven. Jean, after 102 years, has enriched her soul by doing so many great things throughout her lifetime, and having a positive impact on hundreds, if not thousands of people. And every person she enriched their life, who put a smile on somebody else or who said a kind word to somebody else, this all goes on her credit. So she comes up to heaven with so many good deeds that she has done, but it all stopped the day she passed away. And she leaves over a beautiful legacy. She leaves over family, friends, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nephews and nieces, and so many people. All of us, that we do something in her memory, something that she taught us, or even something that we want to take upon ourselves, giving charity, putting a smile on somebody's face, lighting candles Friday before Shabbos, doing a mitzvah. If you do it in her memory, it will elevate her soul. And in our tradition, although the day of a person's passing is a sad day from a physical standpoint, from a relationship on this world, but in a spiritual aspect, it's a special day known as a yahrzeit, the anniversary of somebody's passing. People come to the synagogue to say Kaddish. They bring a bottle of bourbon, and if they're too fancy, they bring scotch. But I'm talking about regular people. Bourbon, herring, kichel. They try not to buy the day old, even though the yahrzeit was a day earlier. But we always try. And everybody celebrates. They make a l'chaim, and they say, may the neshama have an aliyah, may the neshama have an elevation. Because from every year, at the anniversary of the passing, the soul gets viewed. How much have you gained from one year to another year? And that gain of that the soul could gain is not something that the person who has passed on could do on their own. It's something that all of us could do. As the Talmud refers to the surviving children as the feet of their parents. So may we all take upon ourselves to do something in her memories, do something that, especially all the great values that we read, and there's so much more about her, that we could try to emulate her, try to copy her, and this will be a help for her soul to go higher and higher. It's appropriate to ask forgiveness for somebody before we depart from them, before we say our final goodbye. It's very unlikely for a person to live, especially such a long life, that sometimes people took things the wrong way. You didn't mean what they took, or maybe you hurt them, or maybe they hurt you. So we ask forgiveness. If God forbid somebody did not treat her properly or did something to get her upset, we ask for forgiveness, as well as we ask you, Jean, to forgive anyone, and may this help her soul rest and help her be elevated higher and higher. We have today a nephew and a grandchild that would like to share with us some thoughts. If you don't mind coming up over here. Yeah, because it's getting recorded.
Front and center. All right. Okay. Well, wasn't that wonderful? You know, there aren't a lot of things that I can say after the rabbi spoke so eloquently about my grandmother, because he really touched on all of it. And one thing I do want to say, to piggyback off of him, is that, you know, especially for you guys who did know her, I mean, we all knew Jean. We knew how she lived. We knew how she loved. You know, that's why we're here, and that's why there's so many people, you know, at home joining in with us, is that, you know, pushing this negative energy and negative thoughts out of our mind is so important. And it's so important. Jean, I've never, and I'm sure some people have now and then because we're not perfect, I've never left my grandmother in a worse mood than when I first saw her. When we started the interaction, she always filled up everybody who went and visited her with such love. And I think because of her ability to push out those negative feelings and negative thoughts, her heart is only filled with love. And when our hearts are only filled with love, what are we doing? We're spreading that love to everyone else, to every person that we interact with, everyone we meet, and that's going to create a better world. And if there's anything that we can do in Jean's memory, it is to do that. Love the ones that are close to us, that are here, 102 years, but she was still taken from us far too soon. And if we're going to pay any respects to her and see that her soul continues to rise and be closer and closer to God, it's do just that. Just love people, love one another. Even if people are rude to you, forgive them. Move those negative feelings out of your heart.
You have to rejoin the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shut up.
We got the technical advisors on the phone. What the whole thing? They didn't hear anything? Michael, right?
Yeah.
Michael, could you restart? You have a lot of family
Sure.
that missed.
Yeah, it was all a
what you said.
freestyle, so I don't know if it'll be the same.
It was lovely. I wish I.
Sure, no, you're okay.
Okay, are we good? Yeah, everybody good. Okay.
Where did you not see from?
I towards the beginning of your thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it was nice. I could hear it again.
Sure.
Hello.
It's upside down.
It's upside down.
Should I stand on my head?
It's easier if you can stand on
Yeah,
your head.
stand on my head. Sure.
Here, we could help you, man.
I'll need the help.
You want to stand on one side? We'll flip it.
Good.
You still want to go by the name Michael?
Michael, Mikey,
Mike,
whatever.
yeah.
They know what to call me, I think. Sometimes not those names. So I'm not sure where you guys, what you didn't hear, but the whole point of me coming up here and talking is just to continue her legacy. That's what I want to do. That's what I want everyone else to do. I think that's what she would want. Is stop with the negativity. We're all gonna think negative thoughts. We're all gonna have negative interactions, but push those out of our mind as quickly as possible, just like she said, because what that does is allows our hearts to be only filled with love. And that when you leave Jean, you always, at least me, you always leave Jean in a better mood than you were when you got there, because she's greeting you outside of the elevator just like this, and she's waiting outside of her door, looking at you until you get on that elevator. And what I was telling these fine young gentlemen behind me is that, we know Jean, we love Jean, we have Jean inside of us, and we're going to carry on her legacy. But it's really important, especially in these trying times that we're living in, to only, at least try, to only spread love, not fear, not anxiety, not negativity. And it's going to allow the world to be a better place. And that's how Jean lived. And I think we can learn a lot from her. And if you guys didn't hear me, she was 102, and she was taken from us far too soon. It's too quick, like it always is. And I don't know. I'm going to stop here, keep it short and sweet, because that's what Jean was. Oh, and Dad, I brought this from Bill.
Dad, I'm sorry. I left mine home. Sorry. All right, we'll continue now with we'll start the burial process, and once we have the staff will come up and help us do this, then we will. And everybody is welcome to participate, but the shovel, when we pass it, we don't pass shovels at the cemetery. When you finish doing the mitzvah, you put it back in the ground, and somebody else will take it. But this is what we call chesed shelemes, kindness of truth, because she's not going to send you a thank you card afterwards, and you're doing this for the mitzvah of helping her rest. And those of you who would like to, again, we're not going to pass shovels, so we're just going to take turns.
That is around. Gotta wrap it around a little bit.
Don't wrap it.
No,
You want to be able to let it slide.
All
If
right.
you guys lift, I'll just lift. today. All right. Yeah. Okay, come on, I'm gonna come here. We're going to finish off with saying the memorial prayer and then the Kaddish. El Molech Rachamim, Shoichem Bamroimim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechaino, Al Kanfei Ashchino, B'malois Kidoshim, Utoirim Kizoya Rokia Mazirim, Es Nishmas, Sheina Beila Bas Binyamin, Shal Chol Yoilamo, Babur Shanachnu Mispalam Baras Koras Mishmoso, Bigan Eden Tehei Menuchaso, Lachein Balo Rachamim, Yastireo V'Seisei Knofov L'Oilomim, V'Yitzror V'Tzorachem Mishmoso, Ayino Yunachlaso, V'Senuach V'Shloim HaMishkovo V'Noimar Omein. God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant proper repose on the sheltering wings of your presence, and the lofty levels of the holy and the pure, who shine like the brightness of the firmament, onto the soul of Shana Bela, the daughter of Benjamin and Rebekah, who has gone to her world, and for whose memory we pray. May your repose be in paradise. May the Master of Compassion bring her under the cover of God's wing and bind her soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be her heritage, and may she repose in a resting place, and let us all respond, Amen.
Amen.
And we have Mr. Newman who's going to say the Kaddish now.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. And thank you again, everybody who came to make this service. This concludes the service, and we thank Berkowitz-Kumin for all they have done to help us.